Hi, welcome back to my life with plants. My name's Newman. Today we're going to do some repotting of, urgent repotting of these dendrobiums. This is one, and this is the other. And you're going to need some well-hydrated sphagnum moss and a pestle, which you use to grind things in a concrete bowl. But because I don't have a pestle, I'm going to be using my nasal spray because it's just the right shape. This will be a Japanese style potting, and if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, here we go. We're going to set this camera up. Alright. This is not always everyone's most favorite part. But if you're interested, you can watch. If you're not, you can just skip or fast forward. What's going to happen right now is I'm going to repot this and this Dendrobium nana jewel pink. Now the reason why it looks so terrible is because it had a hard time last summer. We had 3 months of temperatures that were on average 35 to 37 degrees. Even though I kept it in as much shade as I could, the plant got a lot of stress. I'm surprised it even survived. Now the weather's been pretty good, pretty temperate, so this gives me the opportunity to do some repotting. I have my tool here. Now what I mean about repotting Japanese style is I'm going to take you through with that. And I'm going to explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, why I've choosing to do it that way. Because it makes sense to me. Now, I think this potting medium is gone pretty sour. I'm going to be reusing the pot. In actual fact, the roots are not too bad. Surprise! Gonna still use this. We got some styrofoam, or I call it polystyrene. And that can go back in styrofoam packing. This helps to keep it nice and light, because actual fact is that dendrobiums, just like any other orchid, they grow on trees, don't they? So they don't like to be rooted too far down. Alright, I'm going to start loosening this up. This is, of course, this plant is really moist, right? So it's been watered well before this repotting. Alright. So the mission here is to loosen all this root system, get all the old sphagnum moss off. I think that these roots are alive and well, a lot of them. Now, this method that we're going to be using today to repot this orchid is actually to promote maximum aeration in the roots, which is what you want, especially when you use sphagnum moss. Sphagnum moss is a great potting medium. A lot of people get scared of it. They don't want to use it because they feel like it's going to rot their plants. But there's a way to repot with it. A natural way, you can call it. Because potting it up in big chunks and then just stuffing it into the pot is kind of not how an orchid would grow on a tree anyway. It has a, you know, it grows on trees, and the moss is something that traps water, which helps the orchid to have something to rehydrate with while it's available. The water, but the moss is not that thick, is it? It's very, you know, it's on the tree very thin, shallow rooted, so that once it does rain, the excess water just drains away. In this case, potting your orchid into a big pot, you put all the sphagnum moss in it, and it just, you know, during the watering, when you do watering, it just stays moist for far too long or too soggy, which is what orchids don't like at all. I didn't expect to see any roots, but for this method you need roots. You need plenty of roots, otherwise it won't work. Now, I don't know how they potted this. Maybe they put it, but all I know is that if you're going to use sphagnum moss, you just don't pack it in tight. Oh, no. If this is boring for you, you can fast forward straight to the next part. There's actually no easy way of doing this. It's pretty hard, pretty tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to start doing this. Looks brutal, but we have to loosen it up. And I got moss flying everywhere now. So this method that we're going to do today with this repotting is kind of a traditional method of potting up Vandas, Vanda falcata. And a lot of people do it with the native Dendrobium monoliforme. And it works really well with Phalaenopsis too, because if you want to use sphagnum moss, if you do this method, you're going to have a super healthy, very healthy Phalaenopsis. Now, do I have it? Just giving the medium a sniff there. Didn't smell too bad. When I'm finished, I want all these roots to be manipulated, all untwined, so that they're all hanging freely. What a nut! This orchid stays in a mini greenhouse, so it will not get frost on it. It will certainly feel some cold, so it'll have a warm and cold cycle during the winter season, which is what they like. Makes them grow really well. Yeah, during the summertime I actually lost a few canes. I was trying to grow some more, but it was so hot that the canes didn't develop. They actually, well, it's not really a rot, but it looked like a rot. The cells kind of collapsed, and then they rotted. One of the best tools for this is a little mini rake. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. What we're going to do right now is we're going to stop, because I think you've had enough of this, and when this is all ready to go, we're going to go to step 2, which is the repotting. So stay tuned. Okay, welcome back. I'm going to repot it into here. Over here I cleaned them up. All the moss has been taken out. This is important. You don't want any moss remaining. And all these roots have been spread out. At least you got 2 clumps here. So for this method, the first thing you want to do is you want to get this right. We're going to pack some moss around it, like so. Round and around we go. Now, why am I doing this? Because when we finish, we actually want aeration. This, put that into the center. We just got to hold it. Later on we'll remove this. This is what gives the oxygen into the plant by keeping an air hole in the bottom. See that? Because when you remove it, you're going to have lots of oxygen that gets up into the plant. So just put a little bit more around there. Like that. Okay, next, these roots are kind of going up over this moss ball, and then with these longer strands I got ready, I've separated them from here, but there's not too many long pieces in this. It's not the New Zealand sphagnum moss, it's a little cheaper one. So what you want to do is you start going around it like this, so that you've covered the root system. So the root system has been splayed out, right, over this first ball of moss, and then next you cover it with another layer. And you know what? It feels awkward because I'm not used to it. Okay, keep going. Some more moss here, just give it a squeeze. There, we just keep going around. We want to make sure that we don't put moss up over the pseudo bulbs around here. because the orchid wouldn't like that. Just a matter of packing more moss around it as we go, like that. Right. A little bit more. So what's actually ended up, I've ended up with 2 plants. Not too bad. Okay. Now, see this? It you come. You see that? We got like an air hole in there, right up inside it. See that? Which is what they like. Now we're going to slide it into here. So you kind of put it sideways, and you go in, 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 just like this. I'm going to pack a little bit more around there. What we're doing here is we're just pushing down around the perimeter here. See that? Not in here, but around the edge, because what you're trying to do here is you're trying to make a well, so when it waters, the water stays in the well and trickles down, moistens the moss, keeps the water away from the core. Pushing it down kind of firm, and that is it. This is the Japanese style of planting a orchid. Watch this. I'm going to hold it now. There we go. So it's in there pretty. See that? It's actually holding itself. So that means it's a good job when you can pick it up like that. See? Now, that, instead of using this, you can use a pestle, right? And if you find it awkward to hold on to that and do the moss ball, you can actually drill a hole and have a base on it, and you screw your pestle onto the base, and then you do the mounting your orchid on. Okay. Put the label in. All done. Now we have this piece, right? We have an extra piece, so we're going to have another go. We'll not have enough sphagnum moss to do the second orchid over here, but just give me a minute. I'm going to look for a pot. See what I can find. Yeah, this cloth on here is for the cacti. Kind of hibernating in there. Alright. Let me just pull this out. And I think I'm going to go for something like that. You're probably wondering, why am I choosing such a little pot? Dendrobiums like it. I do not like big pots. So, we got 2 plants. This one's had a battle with spider mite. Actually, they're gone now, so I must have killed them. They're almost gone. I noticed that spider mite attack weaker plants, and I know that for a fact, 100% fact, because I have Hoyas inside, and Hoya Bella, and 2 of them were ravaged by spider mites. All the ones that were growing around them that were healthy had no spider mites on them, so they're able to defend themselves against the predatory mite. So it's an indication that your plant is not particularly healthy if you've got spider mites on it, because the plant can't defend itself. So those plants they got underwatered and then the root systems dried out, those Hoyabellas, and in came the spider mites. I've totally left it alone now that I've trimmed it, repotted, and I don't bother it anymore. Alright, I'm just going to squeeze some moss first, like that, and we're going to splay these roots out, see, like we did before. What do we splay the roots out? You want the roots growing in the middle. You want all the oxygen in there. Just like you're imagining that this is growing on a tree and the roots are spread out like that. And there's nothing in here. That's what we're trying to imitate. So, once again, we put some around here, right? Like that. It would be easier if I had longer strands, but I don't. I just don't. So there we go. Put the orchid here like that, so that the roots are splayed over. Right, and then you make your way around. Moss will fall off as you're going, but that's all right. Just keep doing it, keep going. Around we go. If I had New Zealand sphagnum moss, maybe I'd have longer strands to work with, and I would be able to line them all up and just wrap it around. But I don't, so I'm just working with what I have here. Okay. We now have our nice covering. Right, slip this up. So we got that nice oxygen hole up there, and I'm going to slip it into this pot, first sideways, and then give it a push like that. Push. Get some roots hanging out, that's all right. And once again we push just around the edge, because we're just trying to make a well here, because you want your water to go down, right? That is what you call a nice repot. Let's just pick it up. There you go. See, it's nice and firm in the pot. We should still have that nice air space in the bottom, up through here. It's nice. Look at that. It's perfect. Look, the roots are not all. The plant's not submerged in there. It's got the nice aeration around it. Nice. Very good. Okay. Do I have enough moss to do this? I might not. So, I'll be back in a minute. I have to go and get some more moss to be able to repot this one, which is the worst of them, but at least it's got this new growth coming, like, so that's promising. Anyway, we will be back in a minute. Hi, you're back with My Life with Plants. Now we're going to have a look at Nana Jewel Pink, which is this one here. Okay. These are the flowers. They're amazing. This is one of those hybrids that if you try to grow it from seed, it'll never come out like this, can only be cultivated by division to keep its true form. Now, this one has been through a hard summer, just like the other Dendrobium. So we are going to repot it back into here when we are finished. The good thing is it's got a new growth coming out, which means that it is alive. Slip it out. Got some netting on the bottom there. 2 pieces, only need 1. And we'll put the styrofoam back. This one's got nice aeration at the bottom, which is good. It's good to see. The root system doesn't look too bad. Looks healthy. It's just in need of a repot. It's a fresh medium that's not so compact. There's no easy way, is there, to get all this moss out. No easy way. Starting to grow a nice cover of moss on the top, which is what it does in winter. If you have trouble removing moss, you can always use this tool to help pry it out. Got a lot of roots. How's the temperature been lately? We'll be getting down to about 0 or -1. Today's a high of 18. Tomorrow will be cooler. These are staying in the greenhouse. Seems to have a big matted root system. So it could have been growing in a nursery pot, and then before they sold it, they just slipped it into this porcelain pot and just packed more moss around it, which is choking it. It really needs the airflow. You can see here that you can see the root system here when it was in the growing in the nursery. It's almost like 2 different plants. So it's actually grown the root system up and over this old root system. Unfortunately, quite a few roots will be hurt during this process, but it's a necessary one. As long as we do it right, everything should go well. It's just a shame I'm just going to miss out on flowers. So I'll just have to look up images and look at those. Right. It's nice to see it's got an offset though. So all these canes are pretty good. They're actually a little bit, I think they're getting a little bit better. You just need to make offsets of these old canes, and then we'll be away. Repotting isn't something I like to do to my orchids. I like to be able to pot them up good enough and provide the right watering and everything so that they can just remain in the pot, and then when they get too big, just to make cuttings but leave the actual orchid in its pot. But when you get to this state, you just got to save your plant. It's surprising that it has this many roots after the hell it's been through in the summer. 3 months of extreme temperatures. We never really had a monsoon, so they just contributed to the heat. Living in Japan here, you will have a normal kind of spring where you get a little bit of rain, not too much. It's usually warm, a lot of sunny days, and then as you start creeping into the summer, you have hotter and hotter days where you can get up into the 30s or over, and then you enter what is called the monsoon. Now when it enters the monsoon, everything just changes. It's always 80 to 90 or even more. Then you can have days that are just complete saturation, where it's just 99%. You couldn't get any more moisture in the air. The temperature drops right down into the 20s. Sometimes it gets so cool you want to put extra clothes on. You can get a little bit chilly. This is what the monsoon is like. And you get this drizzle that just keeps coming down all the time, this non-stop drizzle. And they can last for a month. That's when the orchids are that's when they're exposed to the cooler temperatures and water, and they put on a lot of growth. And then they were into August, which is the hottest month. By then they've already developed a good system and new canes. You want to make sure that you got absolute shade on your orchids at that time, otherwise they get burnt. I lost some bidiums last year because in the afternoon sun crept in and it reached them, and it just didn't take very much. It absolutely destroyed them. They were gone. They wouldn't take up the water. The bulbs and the leaves were just destroyed. They just rotted. There's nothing I could do about it. So I've learned that orchids have got to be kept right out of that sun right away. Well, I'm going to stop the camera because this is all too familiar, and we will be back so that you can see the good part, which is repotting. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. I cleaned this up pretty good. I got my tool right in there. Just trying to grow here. I broke it off by accident, but it'll grow some new ones. It'll be fine. I couldn't help it. Couldn't be helped. Well, we're up to the best part. Dendrobium China Dream Crystal is the name of this. Just get rid of this mess here. Good. Alright. Just like we did before, we are going to use this here. Right, so that the root ball has oxygen. So first we pack some moss around this. Like that. A bit more. And then we put this up over it so that all these roots are spread out over this center bit. Like that, as you can see here. And then we wrap it. With moss. We're gonna run out. Oh, bummer. Get some more up. I thought I got the right amount of moss, but I was wrong. It's taking a lot more than I thought. Alright, let's continue. Because this time this moss hasn't been moistened well ahead of time, which is not what I wanted to do. Okay. All right. It would be much easier if I just had long strands of moss. Okay, now we're going to pull that center bit out and pack it in here. Kind of tilt it. If you get a good view on this, we'll try. We'll try. See how I just tilted in sideways and then push in, right? In like that. We have a little bit of more moss, I think, right there. Add a bit more. Once again, you want to just push down around the edge, but not the middle center of it. And during this process, I have disturbed or broken some new offsets, which I didn't mean to. They will grow new ones. That's if it wants to survive, right? Sorry about that camera work there. I'm trying my best. Okay. This is a wrap. Okay, so hopefully this has done its job. And that's all repotted up. As haggard as it looks, it should make a recovery, hopefully. These are the flowers. I will probably give in if I see this for sale with flowers on it and just buy another one. But I do not want to throw away this. It gave me too much joy. I want to keep it going. You can see some damage there from the hard summer weather we had. It even made this bulb. It made it hard for this to develop. One of a few bulbs that actually rotted, which went all soggy and soft inside it. Yeah, anyway. Thanks for watching this episode with me. The thing that didn't go well was the moss I bought. Once again, it was not the New Zealand sphagnum moss, which has much longer strands. You want the one that's got the longer strands, really long, because what you do is after soaking it, you line them all up, all together, so that when you pick it up, you just wrap it around like yarn. It's actually ideal, the ideal situation you want, or preparation. Okay, but everything turned out pretty good. I'm happy. So we have Dendrobium Dream Crystal and Nana Jewel Pink. All done. Just one last thing I'd like to say. If you haven't checked out Nelson's program on YouTube, and here it is up here on the screen. He's an orchid enthusiast, grower, and he often goes to a lot of shows and orchid sales in Florida, along with Teresita, so please check that out. And also we have Terry. If you're interested in orchids, check out Terry's program on YouTube. He really loves his orchids, so you'll enjoy watching. And of course, also we have Josh. So Josh is another YouTuber who specializes in dendrobiums. So if you have time, please check them out. You enjoy watching. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.